Jeffrey Holland is sitcom royalty. You could say Heidi hi to him in the street and it wouldn't be the first time he'd heard that. If you think it started airing on TV 41 years ago, Jeffrey's face hasn't really changed in that time. I guess when we see people pop on and off our screens, they become part of our family. They're in our homes with us during a cup of tea or a roast dinner. You're sat with your favourite people, or your family, and popular sitcoms such as Heidi High, Only Fools and Horses, One Foot in the Grave, they're there to make the whole family laugh together. That is the family's first comedy club together, and the first theatre for the family is pantomime. So we have a lot to thank Mr Holland for. He's appeared in so many of our favourite sitcoms, including Heidi High as Spike Dixon, You Rang My Lord as James Twelvetrees, Cecil Parkin in Oh Doctor Beeching, Are You Being Served? It Ain't Our Fault Mum and Dad's Army. His face would be so recognisable throughout the 80s and 90s due to his part in the Russ Abbot TV shows, Les Dennis and Kenny Everett TV shows. And if you have seen a pantomime in the past 50 years, you would probably have seen Jeffrey on the bill. I saw him with Keith Harris, Nigel Havers, Julian, Clary and Joan Collins at the Birmingham Hippodrome. I mean, what a show that was. I'll let Jeffrey tell you the rest. Welcome to Eyes and Teeth, Voices of Variety, Jeffrey Holland.
Hello there, how are you, Steve?
I'm very good, thank you, very good. Pantomimes are a wonderful thing, not only a good earner, but they could be a good 2 months' work, couldn't they, for an actor? And
that's right. Yes, I've just, last year, of course, it was ridiculous Christmas, just gone, but the year before that, I was with Sue Pollard, my old mate, and we did Dick Whittington at the Grand in Wolverhampton, and that was my 45th pantomime season of my career, which I don't know about anymore. I've got to the age now when I can't be bothered putting all that stuff on, you know.
It's hard work, isn't it? Not just putting the makeup on, but, you know, they're doing 2, maybe 3 shows a day and resting in between. It takes up
it is hard work,
a lot of work.
The older you get, you know, you sort of look back and think, shall I be bothered anymore? But, you know, we'll see.
I understand. It must have been lovely to be reunited with Sue, working back on stage with her. And
it was great fun as well, because we got to do a Heidi High moment as well.
Oh, lovely.
Towards the end of the show, she was playing the Wicked Queen, and there was a magical transformation moment where she was made good. And in a blackout, and a very quick and rather clever quick change, she reverted to Peggy.
Oh, wow.
and then she summoned me, and I came on in my yellow coat. So,
oh, nice. You still have it, or was it made specially?
Heidi High thing with the audience, and that was, you know, it's still remembered with such affection, which is so nice.
It is. It's where I first saw you when I was a kid. I was probably between 5 and 10, so we always watched sitcoms as a family, and so your face is so iconic in that world of sitcom.
That's nice. I've been very lucky, I must say.
Do people still shout Heidi High in the streets to you? And
they do, actually. Yeah,
do they?
Just not long ago, I was literally within a few weeks ago, I was down at the local Tesco's with my mask on.
Wow.
And my grey hair now. And this girl stopped dead in her tracks. She was only a young kid, you know, about 20. And she stopped dead in her tracks and looked at me. She said, "Oh, so I bet you get sick of people saying Heidi High." I said, "I'm surprised you recognise me with all this lot on." But she said you haven't changed at all. I said, "Well, for goodness sake."
Oh.
She should have got to Specsavers, I think. It was very nice. I love it because people say it, you know, out of love and affection. They say it with the best of intentions, and I love it because it means that they love the show. And
yes.
It makes me smile when they say that. But after all these years, it's 40 years now since Heidi High started.
Oh, that's incredible.
You know, after all this time, there's still people out there enjoying it. So what can I say? It's totally.
That's so nice. It proves how powerful the show was back then and how loved it was by family audiences, and for a 20-year-old to know that. So it's reruns. Do you think reruns is a very important thing to keep the show alive?
Absolutely. This is what's happening. It's been rerun on the Gold Channel. It's been rerun on the Drama Channel. And, you know, it's wonderful that it's still out there and people are still seeing it. You know, people that weren't even born when we were making the show
yes.
back in the 80s. You know, it's just quite extraordinary. But it just goes to show that quality of the writing and the nature of the Croft and Perry stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think they were a powerhouse, weren't they, when they got together? They were genius when they worked together, David and Jimmy.
Absolutely.
And I have to start with this, the accolade of you being the only actor to have worked in every Jimmy Perry and David Croft sitcom. Is that correct?
It's looking that way, I think, yes. I did the Croft and Lloyd ones as well, Ollie being served.
Wow.
I never did a low, because Heidi High was up and running when that started.
Right.
I did play Renee in a national tour.
Yes, you did do the tour, didn't you?
Hello, with Vicky Michelle in 08 and 09, so I've sort of completed the set, really.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. So you've done Dad's Army, Heidi High, It Ain't Half Hot Mum, and you rang my lord as well, which was very big for you.
That's right, yeah. And You Rang My Lord, of course, was the cherry on David Croft's cake. He always said it was the cherry on his cake. It was a lovely show to do. It was a high quality production, and 50 minutes of comedy with drama as well. And it was, for me, a lovely role to play James Twelvetrees, the footman, because it was virtually a straight role within the comedy of the piece.
Yes.
Because he was the butt of all the jokes and the biggest snob in the house. So it was a wonderful part for me.
They're just wonderful moments, and I love sitting down and watching when they come on, or if you're searching through these channels and they're on, you don't go past them, you stop and you just enjoy that moment. It's nostalgia, isn't it? We love looking back on.
Classic stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Perry was a redcoat, wasn't he? So that inspired Matt Plin's?
He was, and basically he based Spike, the part that I played, on his own experiences as a redcoat. Because when he was training at RADA to become an actor, he used to go on the summer holidays and work as a redcoat at Butlins. So, that's where the experience came from. And they both wrote about things that they knew about, because David Croft used to produce plays when they used to do them in the theatres and the holiday camps.
Yes,
and
yes.
They based all the characters in Heidi High on people that they knew that they actually existed. There was the punching Judy man who hated children. and there was the snobby ballroom dancing couple who hadn't won a cup since 1943.
Yes.
They really did exist. The back jockey who pulled the race and lost his licence. All those people were based on real people that they'd met and worked with.
Oh, that's lovely. I think my closest experience is working in Barry Island in 1993 in South Wales, and it used to be a Butlins, but then it was a Majestic. It was taken over by Rick Wright, who local to the area. But but it was all of those, going and do the whist and the games and stuff with the families in the daytime, and then I was DJing and dancing, doing party dances in the evening, and it was that whole Heidi High feeling when I was 17, just a few years after watching your show. I was in the Heidi High moment, and I was so proud of that, because I was learning my craft, Yeah, we can't stop thinking about that show, really, when you start out in the business.
Eyes and teeth.
Going back to the pantomimes, you've done so many, worked with so many comedy names as well that...
Yeah, I've been lucky. I really have. I started playing Dame back in '89. Was the first time I played Dame, and the reason I was drummed into that really was because I was doing it was a new production of Sleeping Beauty at the Theatre Royal in Plymouth. And the stars of the show, I don't know whether you remember Hinge and Brackett.
Yes.
Do you remember it, Dr. Hinge and David Hilda Brackett?
They were wonderful, weren't they?
Yeah, fabulous characters, both played by young men, but they were so incredibly brilliant as old ladies. And I was doing Run for Your Wife for Paul Elliott, and he was producing the pantomime later that year. And during the time I was doing Run for Your Wife for him, I asked him, I said, who's playing Dame with us this year in Plymouth? And he said, well, I haven't got anybody yet. I said, why is that? He said, well, everybody I've asked has refused, because they said it'd be like having 3 dames on the stage with those two. And I said, well, that's absolutely ridiculous, because to me, they were totally 100% female, those characters.
Yes.
And I said, the dame is a bloke in a frock. It's a different matter altogether. And then, of course, I heard myself say those 3 fateful words. I'll do it. And of course he looked at me and he said, all right. And I was 43 then, and I've always said that really a man should not really expect to play a dame before he turns at least 40 years old. It looks wrong, really. A young man dragged up for the wrong reasons, it could be. But I was 43 then, so I was about ready, and I've done it. I did it ever since, right up until the a year ago, 26, 27 years as a dame and 45 pantomime seasons, so it's how it all worked out.
Yeah, I know you play wishy-washy. I was wondering when the process of changing from wishy-washy to alderman, or do you go to dame, or, you take the older roles as you get along, but you took it by the horns really quite early.
Well, I did my first pantomime back in 1968 when I was 22.
In Coventry, wasn't it?
I played all the Idle Jack, I was in repertory then, I was in rep, and I did all the Idle Jack, Simple Simon parts then, the young comic, and graduated when Heidi High came along. I was still playing wishy-washy and things like that, and then graduated into Dame as I got older, and that I was intended eventually to play Dame, and of course I graduated into it naturally, and carried on, and there we are, really, just a process of evolution, if nothing else.
I'd love to have been at the 1980 Dick Whittington at the Alexandra Birmingham. You were King Rat there, were you?
I was King Rat, yes, right, because I'd always wanted to play the villain, and I was offered that because Heidi High, we just made the pilot of Heidi High,
Okay.
and I thought, well, if they want me, if Heidi High takes off, becomes a success, and they want me for pantomime, they'll want this face, my face, on the stage.
Yes.
And I thought King Rat's such a wonderful character, and I put a very elaborate makeup on and made him look hideous, so I thought that was an opportunity to play the villain that I might never get again.
Yes.
And of course, I was right. I never did play villain again.
Oh, okay. Oh, the cast in that show is Ken Dodd, the wonderful Wing Calvin as well.
Yes.
Sally Smith, the Simmons brothers, Sibby Jones. What a wonderful bill. And there was a guy called Billy Whittaker who was the son-in-law. No, he wasn't. He was the son of Coram, the ventriloquist, which is so interesting. Did you get to know Billy at all during that season?
Oh, Billy, yes, of course. Yes, he played Alderman Fitzwarren.
Yes, okay.
Because he was an experienced dame as well himself.
Okay.
But, he played it with... Yeah, I got quite pally with Billy, yes, at that time.
Yeah, I know he was married to Mimi Law, and Mimi, I met her in Cromer a couple of years ago, and just a wonderful history of music hall, that family.
That's right. You come back a long way when you work with somebody like that. Talking of people from the music hall, Leslie Dwyer, in the Heidi High, he played Mr Partridge, the grubby old Punch and Judy man.
Yes.
He was on the bill, do you believe this, in 1910 with Mari Lloyd.
No, wow.
He was, when he was a young lad. He was on the bill because his father was a comic. His father was Johnny Dwyer.
Okay.
And he was a singing comedian at the time, but back into the 19th century. And of course, Leslie was virtually born in a trunk, and he was on the bill as a boy with Mari Lloyd in 1910. Incredible, isn't it?
That is amazing. I was speaking to Fraser Hines, and we were talking about, and I've seen the movie, when he was like a 10-year-old boy doing a scene with Charlie Chaplin, which in a movie, which is incredible.
Yeah.
I need to try and think of the name of the movie, but it's just wonderful to have those moments that you remember, and...
Yeah, absolutely. Fraser goes back a long way as being a boy actor from when he was a small kid. I remember seeing him on television in a series called The Silver Sword, which is a wartime thing, which he was a small boy in that. Brilliant.
Oh, conversational.
As a young boy, Jeff, were you really interested in theatre and watching plays and variety shows?
Not in any way, shape or form whatsoever.
Really?
Because,
Wow.
You realise I've got terrible eyesight. I've always worn glasses all my life. And as a boy, I was wearing these bottle-end glasses. And
Okay.
my self-confidence was zero, absolute zero. And the last thing I ever thought I would ever do is get up in front of people and cavort about and be silly. But it was when I got involved with my dear friend Peter, who's still my oldest and dearest friend to this very day, and he came along to this youth club we were going to one Sunday evening, and he said, listen, I found this drama group for under 21s, and we were about 15, 16 at the time, and he said, will you come along with me next Friday? And I said, well, what do you mean drama group? He explained what it is, and I said, what do you mean? You mean they act? Get on the stage and do silly things. He said, yeah. I said, you've got to be kidding. You're going to realise when I was 15, I was as tall as I am now, covered in spots, big teeth, bottle-end glasses, no self-confidence whatsoever, and he suddenly said to me, well, the girls are very pretty. and I said, what time do you want me? And that was the beginning of it. I got to this drama group, and he was right, the girls were very pretty. And we sat round reading a play, and I heard laughter. Something went ping, and I heard laughter, and I thought, I'm having some of this.
Yes.
You know, and it did my self-confidence the world of good, and the rest is history, as they say.
Did you say Heidi-Hi? Oh, Spike and Ted and all.
That's how I started, but as a small boy, no, absolutely not. I was, black sheep of the family, me.
Really? Wow. You remember those young moments, and it was pretty girls back then.
That's it, yeah, it was my raging hormones, you see, at the time.
Yeah. I met a dancer in 2000, and I married her. We've been together 20 years now, so it's always wonderful, isn't it, to find the one. And so Heidi-Hi actually went on stage as well. You played quite a lot on stage in the Victoria Palace.
Yes, we did three seasons on stage. We did the summer season of '83 at the Pavilion Theatre in Bournemouth. 10 weeks we were there, twice nightly.
Wow.
God, twice
That's
nightly.
hard work.
God. Yeah, it was hard work. It really was. And then the following Christmas, after the summer season in '83, we did Christmas '83 and into '84 with the show at the Victoria Palace in London. You know, the theatre that the old Crazy Gang used to use.
Yes.
So we did the Heidi-Hi stage show there, and that ran until May. It ran for 20 odd weeks, right through to May, twice nightly.
That's incredible.
And then we did the summer season at Blackpool at the Opera House in '84.
With the original cast, Jeffrey?
Yeah, most of them.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
The only
wonderful.
one who didn't do it was the girl who played Yvonne, Diane Holland. No relation to me. She played Yvonne, the ballroom dancer. She didn't do the series, the stage show, because she wasn't really up for it.
Okay.
Physically, she wasn't really that strong.
Right.
For it. She could do the TV show because there wasn't really much involved for her there, but she couldn't do the stage show. She wasn't physically fit enough. So we replaced her in the stage show with two other people at the time, but most of the telecast were there, apart from the boys and girls. The Yellowcoats weren't, because the Yellowcoats were the dancers. The twins were in it, the Webb twins, the boys, but all the girls were dancers. Yeah.
That's so nice. It must have been such a family kind of thing on tour, you know, because you've done the TV series, which takes a long time to film all those series, but to actually go on tour with them, people, you must have been in each other's pockets for so long.
Well, we really were, you know, and we were doing a summer season, as I say, twice nightly. You know, you were together for a lot of hours, all together, you know, for that particular period. It was a time of my life I'll never forget. It was wonderful.
I remember meeting Felix Bonus once, and he was warm-up for the Ron Lucas show, the American ventriloquist.
We used to warm up. He did over 4,000 warm-ups in his career, you know.
Really?
He kept the scripts for everyone he did. He was a funny man.
He was.
A funny man, Felix. Wonderful.
He was such a lovely man to me. I was only 12 or 13, I think, and he knew I was a young ventriloquist, so he just gave me advice, and then he went on his way. But I just never forgot him, you know.
That'd be typical of Felix. He was a lovely man. Lovely.
Yeah.
Everybody adored him.
Yeah, there's some lovely people in the business, isn't there? That's really nice.
Yeah.
You've done quite a few pantos with Paul Shane as well, which was...
We did. I think we did 3 or 4 sort of Heidi-Hi cast pantos.
Oh, right.
We did Babes in the Wood at the Alex in Birmingham in 81, I think that was. And then we did Dick Whittington at the Bristol Hippodrome in 82 with Paul and myself as the double act. Ruth Maddock played Principal Boy, and we had Barry Howard in that as King Rat.
Oh,
Very
right.
funny, the happiest King Rat you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Terry Scott as well, who played the dame in that with us. But, you know, we did a few as the Heidi-Hi gang, which was great fun to do. Transferred our characters from the Heidi-Hi I took the stage quite naturally, really.
In 1984, Babes in the Wood, with the Lewisham Theatre with Paul Shane. There's a lovely little. You've got a lovely little review from the stage. Paul Shane.
Lorraine Chase.
Yes, Lorraine, lovely Lorraine. Paul Shane and Jeffrey Holland can hardly fail, and nor do they. In part, Jeffrey Holland plays the whole thing as if he believes it, displaying both charm and enthusiasm. It's nice to get reviews in the stage, isn't it?
That's really nice.
Good old days.
It's lovely, and the twins were in that with us as well, the Webb twins.
Oh yes.
That was fun to have them too.
Eyes and teeth.
You rang, my lord. That was in 1988 that came out.
We
So
did the pilot in '88, and they made the first series the following year. Yes,
that was about 4 years' work, wasn't it? That
that's
show.
right. We did 26 episodes over 4 years, 4 separate series, and it was the reason it stopped because I think they'd run out of material, to be honest, because it was 50 minutes long. It wasn't a half-hour sitcom; it was 50 minutes, which they made it with obviously a view to selling it abroad and then turning it into an hour with some commercials in it. But that was the plan. But yes, it was 50 minutes, so we got through a hell of a lot of material in that.
Yeah. You've done so many serious dramas as well. I mean, you're a real fine actor. You know, you can cross over between the comedy and the serious. But
I love to when I get the opportunity. It doesn't happen very often, but yes, you're right. Before all the TV stuff happened, of course, I was a jobbing actor doing anything and everything that came along. But these days, I'm known more for comedy, so there aren't many people who give me an opportunity to do straight stuff. But when I do, I grab it with both hands because it's great fun to exercise a few acting muscles I don't normally stretch, you know.
Yes. There's a couple of your theatrical debut was No Fear or Favour. Is that right?
No Fear or Favour, 1967, the Alexander in Birmingham. I got my equity card doing that.
Oh, did you? That was always a catch-22. You needed to have the CV before you got the equity card, and the other way round, and you couldn't get one without the work. Isn't that right?
No, it's been catch-22, but in those days they didn't understand. I was just a new boy. I was still a student at the time in Birmingham, and they allowed me to join equity, and so I did. And I've been a member of equity now for 53 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
54 nearly, yeah.
Was it really? I've got a list of productions you've been in here: The Ghost Train, The Secret of the Sun, George, The Mad Ad Man, Lunchtime Concert. There's so many things.
Oh, those are my old Belgrade days, yeah.
Yeah, Belgrade. That was in Coventry. I've worked that theatre. I've done some lovely variety shows with my friend Andy Eastwood, and it's a lovely theatre, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah. It was built just after the war. They put it up in 1956, I think, and it's been there ever since. I spent 5 years there doing rap. I learned my trade there.
Oh, wow.
People used to say to me, come on, you move on, go elsewhere. I thought, why move on? I was doing everything I needed to do. I was playing, comedy, Shakespeare, pantomime, drama, everything, you name it, and I just learned my business there. So, I'm very grateful for those few years. I'm very lucky to be able to do repertory.
Yes.
There isn't any such thing anymore.
No.
Kids coming out of drama school now, they don't get the opportunities that I had back then. And that was the back end of the 60s. And, it sort of dwindled ever since. And it's very rare you find any repertory season anywhere now.
Yeah, sure. Did you ever go back to the Belgrade when you get the chance?
I have done. I've been there with touring shows. Yeah, it's always nice to go and reminisce. Because my first wife was a Coventry girl, and we lived there, and we married there, and we had our kids there.
Okay.
My children were born in Coventry.
Right.
And because I met Judy much later, after I was divorced from her. But so Coventry means a lot to me.
Yeah, I know there was a big concert hall there, wasn't there? Because my friend called Peter Pullen, he was a props maker, and he still makes my characters now. He made Orville the Duck. He was working at the Coventry Theatre, but he was there.
That's the old Hippodrome Coventry Theatre. That's right. Yeah.
That's it. And the Beatles were there one night. Jerry and the Pacemakers. It was a wonderful venue, I believe. Did you ever go to that?
It was a great, big, wonderful theatre. Yeah, it went the way of all theatres. Sadly, it's gone now. They pulled it down.
Yeah.
But,
I heard that.
To a big hall to try and keep it open, and that just
doesn't work.
Theatre started becoming unpopular, which is such a shame because it is variety heyday. Everybody anybody played the Coventry Theatre, the Coventry Hippodrome, as it was known originally.
Right, yeah, I heard that. It's incredible.
Eyes and teeth.
We move on and we have to move our shows elsewhere, and you played in a play called Talent, which was written and directed by Victoria Wood, and that was a lot of shows go to the Menier Chocolate Factory before they go onto the West End. Is that
Hoping we would get a West End transfer, but sadly we didn't. It was a fabulous piece to be able to work with Victoria Wood. She directed it, she wrote it, and she directed it. It's a pity she didn't appear in it, but she did.
Yeah.
We had a great time doing that. It was such a fun piece, but it wasn't deemed worthy to transfer, so we didn't. Sadly, we were all very disappointed because we thought we might get a chance, but it didn't happen. But it was a wonderful opportunity, and great for me to be able to work with her. Wonderful.
Oh, that's amazing. I stood in the wings with Victoria once. We were doing Wilton's Music Hall. It was a celebration of, I believe it was 50 years of Roy Hudd's career, and I had to follow her. She'd done about 10 minutes of chat, but yeah, she's a wonderful talent, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She was absolutely brilliant. Wonderful clever lady.
Did you ever work Wilton's Music Hall? It was a wonderful venue.
No, I haven't worked it. I've been there a few times to see stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I've never worked it. I'd love to do my show there one day if I get the opportunity. If we ever do anything on the theatre ever again.
Oh, I know. We're thinking, how many times have we moved our tours, and I'm just about to, this afternoon, I'm about to move my third UK tour to later this year, to September, from April again. So
you'll be all right by then. I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Well, yes.
Out there and everything.
Yes.
I'm hoping so, anyway.
Yeah. But my childhood was also spent sat on a Saturday night watching all of the great comedy shows, the Russ Abbot Saturday Madhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were in there with Dustin G and Les Dennis, Michael Barrymore, Bella Emberg and Susie Blake. What were those times like?
Oh, fantastic. Sherry Houston, of course, as well. But, we had such fun doing those sketches, because it was obviously all sketch comedy, and we all got to sing and dance as well. It was mostly Vince Prince and the Tone Deafs, Russ's Teddy Boy character. And we did all his backing, we were his backing group, the Tone Deafs, and we got to dance and sing and do all the very funny stuff. Some very happy times there. A wonderful cast.
I was speaking to Sherry, and she told me that they don't show these again. They're not repeated, so we need to try and get these shows back, don't we? It'd be lovely to see them again.
I wish we could. Somebody said they were watching a Madhouse the other day on one of the channels. I don't know where it came from. I've no idea. It was probably one of those things where they do about that Saturday night TV.
Yes.
I think maybe they show a sketch. I thought something like that. But I wish they would repeat them somehow or other, because there was a lot of very funny stuff there. Really. I'm
going to start a petition. I told Sherry, and I'm going to do that now, because I'd love to see those again. I've never seen any of the reruns, but I remember seeing them the first time round.
Yeah, they were great fun.
Right, you bump them two off. All right, I'll swing off the light bulb, land on the control panel, I'll press the button, it'll sort of launch a missile, it'll fire left instead of right, explode in air, and it will save the whole world, right? But first, let's go. Fly me to the moon, and everything
Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
I knew it was a Thompson twin.
No, Cooperman, you are just in time for the launch.
Oh, I fancy a bit of lunch.
Not lunch, launch.
Oh, aren't we posh?
You are about to witness the end of the Earth.
Yeah, you couldn't do that, you know nothing.
How dare you? I am General Zod and I know all.
You know Zod.
How dare you speak to the Zod like that?
Just a minute, who are you?
I am Lex Lucan.
Good Lord, Lucan. We've been looking for you for years.
I saw a photograph of you and Paul Shane dressed as Laura and Hardy, and you've done this.
The stage show. Yeah.
Was it in the stage show that you did it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And was that where your love for Stan Laurel came about?
No, I've been a fan of Laura and Hardy since I was a very small boy.
Oh,
6 or 7 years old. When we were growing up in the 1950s, we used to go to the Saturday morning picture shows. There was special shows for kids on Saturday morning, and you'd pay your sixpence or your ninepence.
Yes.
You'd go in and you'd watch a western, a couple of cartoons, films an episode of Flash Gordon and hopefully a Laurel and Hardy. And that's where I fell in love with them when I was a little boy. They became my friends, these two silly men. Because you identified with them as a small boy, because they used to get into trouble with authority, and which is what small boys used to do as well, get round the ear, And that's what my love for Laurel and Hardy came out of they're just pure comedy, and it carried on through my life. And then back in the 1970s, they started to show them on television. BBC Two used to run them about 6 o'clock in the evening as an alternative to the news. And I started to rekindle my love for them at that time, and had an idea then to do a one-man show about Stan Laurel, because nobody had ever done a one-man show about half a double act before. A one-man show about somebody like Stan, because I knew about his life and I knew what a hell of a story it was. And I thought that people don't know these things about him. But of course I couldn't do it then. Back in the 70s, I was far too young. I was, only in my late 20s,
right.
30s myself. So I had to wait. And, I've waited over 40 years to get that show on stage.
It takes time, doesn't it?
Wait over 40 years to get that up and running.
I've been writing a book for 20 years, and I know the feeling. It's like really want to get it to happen, and it's because you're busy doing other things though as well. It's at the back of your mind, isn't it?
Something always gets in the way.
Yeah. I went to Edinburgh Festival. I've been twice with a friend, both times, but I always pre-book my shows, and my top 5 list, and I probably saw about 30, 40 shows, was your show, and I just thought it was the most incredible, most poignant, funny. It was a beautiful show, Jeffrey, and...
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of me. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that.
And you co-wrote the piece with Gail Lau, and she's a playwright, isn't she? So how...
She's a very experienced. She's won some awards for her plays as well. She's very good at writing plays for one person or just for 2 people. She's written some wonderful stuff. So I collaborated with her on the idea I had, for doing this, because I'm not really a writer. I could write little bits and pieces,
yes,
but I couldn't put a play together like she can. She did all the research she needed to do. I gave her all the books and various DVDs, and she used all that as research, because she didn't know much about them apart from seeing them on TV like everyone else had. And she came up with this wonderful play, because she writes the way people speak.
Okay.
I put all the comedy in. I did all the clips from the various movies, because you've seen the show. At various points, I put the hat on and become Laurel and Hardy. So I put all the comedy snippets in from the films.
It's
that people
so
might recognise.
yeah.
But otherwise, it's just me visiting a sick Oliver Hardy in his bed just before he died. He had a massive stroke at the end of his life, and he was in bed, and he lay there for 11 months before he passed away.
Yeah, you paint such a beautiful picture there, and it's not just a friend visiting someone who's passing away. You've got the whole career. You talk about the whole career.
That's right. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. It was Gail's idea to set it like that.
Okay.
And she said, "Well, you could tell the story. Just come and visit him and talk."
Yes.
Just talk. And he goes from one idea to another, and he reminisces about the things they did, all the films they made, the women in their lives, because there were a few. The money they made, the money they lost, because Babe was an inveterate gambler, Oliver Hardy. He lost thousands of dollars on the horses. Stan was, he made some investments, and he lost a fortune on the Wall Street crash of '29. Stuff like that. All those things in our lives, the women, the wives, the fact that Stan had a little baby boy who died at 9 days old, and people don't know that.
No.
Not many people know that.
I didn't know until I saw your play. It's very powerful, that piece.
No, it's a tragedy in his life. And those are the things I wanted to tell, the part of the story I wanted to tell. Because it captivates people, it's fascinating. I've been very lucky. I've done 3 seasons at Edinburgh with the Fringe with that, and sold out every time. I've had a great success, and I've toured it around the country. So I'm hoping to put it back on its feet eventually when we can get theatres open again.
It'd be wonderful to see it again, and I'll send people your way, because and this is my friend Mr Laurel. It's such a wonderful piece, and it takes part in Oliver Hardy's bedroom, and it's a frame of a bed, isn't it? And
it's just a frame. It's just a little plastic. It's made of white tube,
Okay.
A little plastic white tube, and it just says bed. It's simply just what it is. There's a white chair which I sit on and walk around, and there's a bed frame, and you know exactly where you are and what's going on. It couldn't be simpler, really.
It's wonderful with the lighting, the sound bites that you have in it. The cues of those are so integral to the play, aren't they? But you have to trust the sound man.
Because it's a long way. He arrives with his hat, puts the hat on the back of the chair, and just sits and talks all of Hardy. And then at various stages in the play, the lights change. I put the hat on, step into a spotlight, and then do this dialogue from the films that people may or may not recognise, for laughs, and then take the hat off, the lights change back, and we carry on with the narrative. So it's a formula that really works. I'm very pleased with it, very proud of it.
It's such a beautiful piece. I really want to see it again now.
Let's just hope we get the opportunity to get it back out there.
Is it something that you've ever considered to be a TV debut, or?
No, I don't know. It's specifically for the stage. I don't think it will work on TV. You'd have a crack at it, but I don't think so. It's written for the stage, and I want to keep it in the theatre.
Yeah.
Really. Last time I did it in Stratford, at the Playhouse there in Stratford, not the Shakespeare Theatre, obviously, but the Playhouse in Stratford on Avon.
Yeah,
Back in the beginning of March.
Oh, was it?
That's the last time I did it, so it's been nearly a year.
Yeah, I was supposed to be there in April, actually, last year. So
right.
Yeah,
right.
That's a nice venue.
Yes, it is. I enjoyed it there very much.
There's been a couple of venues I've worked, actually, where they've asked for shows, and I've mentioned your show a couple of times. So I just think that they're looking for something different, And I remember mentioning it. I don't know if it was Stratford, but there was a couple of venues where I said you need to get this beautiful show there, and I saw it twice because I was on a cruise ship with you just over a year and a half ago. And you done this wonderful talk about your career, and then you said in a couple of days we're at sea, so I'm going to put "This Is My Friend Mr Laurel" on. I couldn't believe my luck that I got to see it again, and
bless you.
It was great, wasn't it? And you got to talk to the audience after. What was the feedback like?
Well, the ones that made a point of coming up to me, they said they absolutely loved it. They didn't know what to expect, but they thought it was poignant to it, because they don't see stuff like that on the ships normally.
No.
It was a drama with comedy in it, a one-man play, and they normally look at most of what they get is cabarets and musical stuff, and people like yourself with those wonderful acts. But,
yes.
The feedback from the ships was really good. So we'll see what happens, when the cruises get back up and running, see what happens there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's like a huge monologue, isn't it? But people really believe that he's lying there. I can't get over how you paint that picture in our minds. It's just a great piece.
That's nice. It seems to work. People have said wonderful things to me, like you just did. Thank you very much. People say, I could see him lying there. I could see him, and he was lying there, and he was listening to every word you said.
Well done on that tribute. I mean, his family must be over the moon, if they know about it, or that have any of the family seen it?
I don't think they have. No. I'd love to have showed it to his daughter Lois Junior, they call her, because she was named after her mum. But she died sadly 2 or 3 years ago at the age of 89. I would love to have been able to do it for her, but it never happened, sadly. But there are grandchildren, great grandchildren out there. So we may get a visit from one of the family members one of these days.
Yeah, let's get it back on the stage. But you're an honorary member of the Sons of the Desert, and that's
the International Fan Club.
Lauren Hardy fan club, yeah. And we got a wonderful friend in Roger Robinson. He does such a great thing for that, and that team there. So
he put you onto me, or put me onto you. Then he sorted this out, didn't he?
Oh yes, bless him. Yeah, so you can blame him. He's
It was the first time I saw you when you did. You played Southend. You came and did the convention.
I believe it may have been 50 years since Lauren Hardy played Southend, and I think I was playing the part of Archie Elray, who was the ventriloquist on that particular show.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Oh, I think it was 50 years. That's 1952. They were there, weren't they?
That's right. Yeah. So it must have been 2012. I think I did that.
Something like that. Yeah.
50 years later, I guess, possibly. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh wow! And you've just got a wonderful career, and you've done so many things that we love, and it's great to see your face. It's always nice to see you around, and I see you at a lot of charity events as well, Jeffrey. Which is
I do what I can. And help.
Yeah, so we're just itching to get back onto the stage now. So I hope the contracts start coming back in and the phone starts ringing again.
Oh, for all of us, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been a bad year for the theatre. A lot of people have lost a lot of money. Damn shame. But your health comes first, and everyone's doing the best they can to get this terrible pandemic out of the way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wish you and Judy all the best. Jeffrey, I'm going to put your website on here and make sure to send people that way.
The website, please put the website up. Yes, it's just been redesigned for me. It's really rather proud of it now.
It's brilliant. I was looking at it this morning. It's such a lovely site, and it tells everybody what they need to know about you and
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
and Mr. Laurel. You're a wonderful entertainer, a wonderful actor, and it's just been a pleasure to talk to you and to know you over those years. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being on Eyes and Teeth. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, Steve. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Eyes and Teeth.
Thank you to the wonderful Jeffrey Holland, and I urge you to go and see his masterpiece on Stan Laurel. It's a beautiful piece of theatre. You can keep up to date with Jeffrey on his website at www.jeffreyholland.co.uk. Find him on Facebook as Jeffrey Holland and Twitter at JeffHolland07. Today's quote comes from, of course, Stan Laurel. If any of you cry at my funeral, I will never speak to you again. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Lola, Larissa and Nina Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jingles are produced and performed by Kevin Dean. Join me on the next edition of Eyes and Teeth when I happily chat away to Bob Monkhouse and Frankie Howard, or as he's known these days, the extraordinary talents of Simon Cartwright.